Hi guys, it's me. It's Angie, and I'm here again today with the second edition to Young Wife's Life and Young Husband's Hub. I'm so glad that you guys decided to join me today. So let's get right into it. Today we are going to be talking about disillusions after the I do's. Woo! I'm telling you, that's something right there. Now, let me tell you, when I first got married, and I got married at 22, and right now I'm 53. So this was a while ago. Well, I'm not married now, but I was married 25, almost 25 years. And when I got married, I had no idea what in the world. I mean, I knew how, because I had such a great mom and she showed me how to take care of children. I had a lot of brothers and sisters, so we understood how to take care of children, but I didn't understand how to take care of a husband, and I didn't know how to choose a husband. And that's going to probably be another topic or subject for another time. But I just went into the marriage with it not really being something that was on my mind. At the time, it was if a guy asked you to marry him, you were like, oh, this must be God. That's how it was at the time when I was growing up. And that's not always the case. Because someone asked you to marry them, you need to make sure that you have that same peace and register to marry this person also. It needs to be a balance. It needs to be both of you. No one should just tell you,
You should marry me. God said marry me. You're my wife. You're my husband. God said this. And if they say that, then they need to be sensitive and caring enough for you to give you time to seek God and to make sure that that is really what you're feeling also, not just what they're feeling, because then it becomes a very selfish thing and you'll resent that later. On this side of marriage, before you get there, is the time to take time to look into all those different issues. And is this what I want right now? Well, as I was saying before, when I was asked to get married, it wasn't even on my mind. That's a sign right there that no, don't do it. If it's not even a desire at that time, and I was in my 20s, you know, um, I had an apartment. I was about to get a car. I was thinking about if maybe I wanted to go to school. I had my apartment furnished, and I was just enjoying that single life that I wasn't really thinking about getting married. And if I wanted to, then that would have been the time to get married. And I could have been thinking, okay, is this the person I should marry? Is this someone that God has for me? Then I could have asked those questions, but because I felt a pressure, because I had been dating this guy for so long, I had been dating him from six. I met him when I was 15. We were at that time we were 22, so we've been dating for a while. So he says married, and I'm like, I really hadn't thought about it like that, but maybe that's what we should do. Well, when it comes to something, guys, so serious as a life partner, you don't want to half-heartedly and haphazardly just jump into that because someone is keep asking you, or we've been together a long time, or they're going to break up with you and somebody else is going to get them. And don't do it because of that. Those are wrong reasons, and I've heard all those reasons also. Young man, if she's telling you God said you're my husband, and you know I've been with you, or even if you have a child, I know this topic is gonna be kind of hard, but even if you have a child, you can co-parent until you can find out and make sure
within you that marriage is the thing that you should be doing, and this person is the person that you should be marrying. Because if you get into it and it's not, now you've got to try to rip that thing apart. You've got all this invested. You've got, and it's going to be harder, is what I'm trying to say. It's better to find out on the front end before you get into that. And this is for young men and young women. Young man, you could step up to the plate and take care of that baby or those babies without marriage right now, until you can get some counseling, get yourself together, and make sure that when you go in there, you have the right mindset to be a leader. You're not going to be abusive. You have a plan, and you know where you're going, and you can see clearly. That's so important. Have a healthy mental attitude to be a leader. You cannot be a leader if you are broken.
Your self-image of the image that you see of yourself is so hurting, which causes people to go out and cheat and try to make themselves feel better about themselves. You don't want to take a young lady through that. I'm telling you, sweetheart, you do not want to take a young lady through that and break her heart, because she's going to be relying on you to be that rock and to be the stone, in one of the stones in her life. At the same time, young lady, I understand you have baby for him and you want the baby to have his name. Give the baby his name. If it's his baby, then he has that right to have the baby, to see the baby, to give the baby his name. But until you can get before God and make sure that this is the person you should be with for the rest of your lives, then wait on marriage. Just wait for a second. I'm not saying wait for a long time. Just wait until you have peace. I'm not saying forever. Just you got to have that peace going into it. Because if you don't, when you get in there and storms come and winds blow, it's going to knock you off of that foundation. You don't want that to happen. It's just like the Word of God says. You don't want that to knock over your foundation. You want to go in there saying, yes, I know this is the person for me. Yes, I know this is the man for me, the woman for me. Whatever comes, whatever storm comes, we are going to endure it because we have taken the time to prepare and do the preparation on the front end of this relationship. And it's possible that you could stay together for 50, 60 years. It has happened. But you got to know going in. You got to be committed going in. You can't go in saying, well, if this doesn't work, the young lady down the street, we used to have a good time together. No, you have to, all that mindset's got to go. You have to have the mindset that we are in this to win it. And so that's was my topic for today. And now, if you've and excuse me, I'm going to look to the side just a little bit so I can remember what I wanted to say. But we were talking about disillusion, and when you first get married, many times you are going to be disillusioned. Now, I've talked to even my own children when they first gotten married, and they've said, well, Mom, I don't think this is what I didn't sign up for this, and I didn't do this. And I say, you know what? I know you didn't. But when you say I do, that person has just became the right one. Don't even say, oh, I think I made a mistake. I don't think he's the right one after all. I don't think she's the right one after all. No. You said, I do. You had all that time before you got to the altar. You could have turned around. If you haven't got to that altar yet, you need to think, you need to pray, you need to counsel, you need to get before God. You need to make sure that this is what God has for you. But if you've already gone to that altar, now you have a commitment to try to make this marriage work. Young man, you have a commitment to try to make this marriage work. Young lady, no more excuses. Put those excuses out of your mind now. That's over with. Now it's time to buckle up
Let's be an adult. Mindset shift. Shift it into adult. And let's move on. Just like you shift your car, you got to shift it. So you may be a little bit delusioned, but hang in there. You'll get past that period. You get past that point where you feel like, oh my God, what did we sign up for here? You're going to I can promise you, you'll get past it. I got past it. I got past those times, and they were very hard because when I first got married, when we were courting, it was one way. Everybody puts their best foot forward when they're trying to get you. And then once they get you, sometimes it's not the same. And I tell you, it was many times when I looked at my young new husband, I was like, God, what happened? Who is this person? And maybe he thought the same about me. I don't know. He never expressed that to me. But many times I thought, oh my God. I mean, I seen anger issues come out. I seen sexual issues come out. I seen just so many things come out. And that's not to bash him at all, because he's a good person. But we all have things that we have to deal with. I had to deal with being the oldest in my family, and insecurities as a young woman, as far as just not knowing who I was. You know what I'm saying? I was in the church, but I didn't know who I was as far as the Christ in me, the hope of glory. I loved God, but I needed to grow in God. It was like I had a fourth of gas in the tank. Well, I had Christ, but I needed that tank to be full. And it wasn't full when we got married. So I didn't know how to to look over some things. And when women get emotional, a lot of times our mouths will fly. And I'm not saying we just go crazy and do all this and that. I'm just saying we're not going to be that submissive, sweet little wife. And when you haven't had the knowledge and practice doing that, you are going to butt heads. And depending on your personalities. Now, if you got two people who have a kind of easygoing personality, they may not get at. You may have people who have really out there kind of. God made all personalities, and all personalities subjected to the Holy Spirit could be beautiful. But when we're walking in our own flesh, our own right, and our own emotion, it just can be very miserable. So, that's something that I wanted to touch on today with being disillusioned. And then you can be disillusioned, when you get home, sharing the workload. Now you got to go to work, and work, you got things going on at work. You got to deal with money, budgeting, finding a job. You could be disillusioned with the sexual experience. And that's another thing that I had issue with, because when I was not sexually experienced, actually I was a virgin, and I wasn't sexually experienced, and he had had a few experiences, but I was not experienced whatsoever, and I had no idea what to expect. And I just had to pretty much butt my head and kind of learn through it, which it would have been so much greater to have had knowledge on what to expect, in these situations. So my screen is kind of doing something weird right now. I don't know what is. Let me see if I can clear it up. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe it's not used to me doing this video. Let's see if I can get it off the screen. Okay. Get off that screen. When you do stuff live, it happens. But at the same time, I wasn't sexually experienced, so I didn't know all these different things. I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know what really it took to please him as a husband. And he was used to, looking at porn, before he came to the Lord and all these different things. So to expect a young wife who it has not had those experiences to be this porn star and to do the things you've seen in these magazines and seen in your life is very unrealistic. And then also, young women, to expect your husband to live up to the things that you've read in romance novels and seen in movies, and expect him to be able to read your mind romantically is unrealistic. You've got to come to the table and be able to talk and share little by little and get these things broken down so that you can serve each other, you can love each other, and you can make these relationships, your relationship, be a lot better, and you can coexist with each other in happiness and not fight and walk through the house and not talk to each other and I'm hoping not getting physical and just not enjoying each other, not being tempted to share and take what you have for the husband to somebody else, and what you have for the wife, that's hers to somebody else. Don't do that. And I'm going to end on this. Guys, if you're having problems, you need to be man and woman enough to sit down with each other if you can. If you can't, go and get some type of counseling so you can be psychologically healthy to endure and fight for this relationship, because it's going to be that. It's going to be a fight, but it could be a good one. It could be a good fight. But go and get some type of counseling, or sit down and talk with each other and say, look, this is what I'm expecting. This is what I would like eventually from you. Can you work on this? And he could say, well, this is what I would like. Can you work on this? Can we work on this? And bring those things together. And I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect all of a sudden. I'm saying, can you at least want to try to work on it? Can you at least do that much? If you can at least say, look, I'm willing. Sir, young man, are you just going to be stubborn and just like, it's got to be your way or the highway? You're going to say, look, I want this woman in my life. I need this woman in my life, Are you going to, or just kick it to, it's got to be your way? Or, young lady, everything, you can't be like a little 8-year-old. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm saying, look, I got to have it like this. It's this way or the highway. That's how young children act. But being the fact that you're married lets me know that you're not children anymore. You're adults. You're adult. If you're old enough to be married, you are an adult. So, young lady, you cannot be, well, it's got to be like this, and if he doesn't, I'm not going to do this, and you're going to have to rethink that, okay? And I'm going to be coming with another video, and we're going to talk about how we can have resolutions, how we can get through conflicts, how we can talk to each other even when we're angry. And I know that's a hard one, but I would really love to be able to talk to you guys about it. Let's see what we could come up with. Let's see what we could do. Hey, if you like this video, if this is your kind of thing and this is helping you in any way, if you could like and share, subscribe, I would love it. More people see it, the more great, and it'll get better. These are my first ones. I'm just starting. I'm really excited. I'm going to be setting up an email where you can send me questions. You can send me your hard questions. Like I said, I'm a mom. I have 4 adult children. I was married for almost 25 years. Went through a lot of different things in the marriage. We ended up getting divorced after that time. for multiple reasons. I am almost a graduate from a local college, studying psychology, and I love helping families, young people, have a positive mental outlook on life, and just having positive mental health. If your mental health is not health, if your mental health is not good and positive, it's hard for you to make decisions. It's hard for you to have clarity and know what to do. So we have to start with how we think about things. And I've learned this in my life. And I want to help you guys to get over some hurdles. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics coming up. These are my first few videos, so if they aren't too polished, forgive me. I'm going to be working on it. You guys can help me. If you have some suggestions, I would gladly listen to them. But I just want to say, I love you. I'm hoping the best for you. I'm applauding you. You're doing great. And I'm just praying that your marriage and your life would be an example to young people to come. So I'll see you. That being said, I'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye, and have a great afternoon, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.